Hey, Utah Mammoth fans, tusks up, and welcome into your Utah Mammoth Daily. So, big news to start out. It broke yesterday, but Connor Ingram and the Utah Mammoth have both agreed to part ways. That is big news. Connor Ingram was the first goalie to start a game ever in franchise history for Utah. So, look, I love Connor Ingram. The guy has been through so much on and off the ice, and every time he pulled on the Mammoth sweater, every time I say, 22 times he pulled on the sweater, he was going to give everything he had. According to the Hockey News, it's a mutual agreement, as well as local reporting here, Cole Bagley from KSL. He won't be at training camp, and the Mammoth are working to find him a new home, probably through waivers, in fact, definitely through waivers. That leaves the goaltending tandem for 2025-2026 looking like Karel Vejmelka and Vitek Vanacek, the country mates from Czechia. Last season, Ingram suited up for those 22 games, went 9-8-4, had a 3.27 goals against average and just a .882 save percentage. Not the flashiest numbers, but he gave this team stability when we needed it the most. So, for me personally, Connor, thank you. Thanks for the saves, thanks for the grit, and thanks for being part of this first chapter of Utah hockey. Wherever you land, we're pulling for you here in Utah. And pretty much everybody across the NHL spectrum is cheering for you, Connor. So thank you, and good luck wherever you end up. No need to transition here. We're just going to hop right into the next spot because I just wanted to let that sit for and marinate for a little bit there. All right, so the bigger picture. ESPN rolled out their preseason questions across the NHL, and of course, the biggest question for us is simple. Can the Mammoth make the playoffs this season in 2025-2026? Last year, they fell short. I mean, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, but they fell short because the Blues went nuts. That's why Utah fell short. Utah also stumbled a little bit during that time, losing 6-1 and 7-1 during that time period is not the best way to go about trying to make the playoffs, but the Blues went nuts. Let's just face it. That's just what happened. But the offseason moves were no joke. They were aggressive without being overly aggressive, without selling the farm. It was really solid from GM Bill Armstrong. J.J. Peterka was brought in to add offensive punch. And any way you slice it, Utah just needed a little bit more punch on the offensive side of things, and that's where Peterka comes in. Brandon Tanev is here to grind and kill penalties, something else that the Mammoth struggled with last year. Brandon Tanev is a wizard at killing penalties. Nate Schmidt brings championship pedigree to the blue line along with Sergachev, Olli Mata, Ian Cole. They've all won cups, and now they all are playing together. And in net, Vitek Vanacek joins Vejmelka to give us a tandem with real depth and stability. Defense is deeper than ever. 5 players on this roster have Stanley Cup rings. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Schmidt, Sergachev, Mata, Cole, and company. The company would be Vanacek. That would be the 5th one there. That's leadership in the locker room that cannot be overstated. Guys like Clayton Keller, Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, Daniil Boot, Dmitry Simashev, Tidge Aginla, Cole Bedoin, Caleb Desnoyers, Maverick Lamoureux. It's only going to help those young guns get better. So the question isn't just, can the Mammoth sneak into the playoffs? That's not the question I'm asking. For me, it's how dangerous could this team be when they get in? With that mix of young talent that's very hungry and proven winners, expectations are rising here in Utah, and the captain said best, Clayton Keller, he said it's playoffs or bust this year. There's no feel-good stories this year if you don't make the playoffs, and I tend to agree. So, will any names stick from the preferred tryouts being signed? So, seeing PTOs on your screen might trigger some PTSD from your work life, but this is not paid time off requests. These are preferred tryouts. So, speaking of depth, let's talk about some new names fighting for spots. Utah signed 7 PTOs. Here's the list. Centers Ryan McGregor and Sammy Walker. Wingers Austin Pagansky and Ty Tullio. defenseman Leighton Moore, and goalies Dryden McKay and Dylan Wells. Now, if Dryden McKay sounds a little familiar to you, Utah hockey diehards, I guess, puckheads, that's because Dryden McKay was the goalie for the Utah Grizzlies before they moved over to New Jersey. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Yeah, so that's at least a familiar name for us here in Utah. He is the goalie for the Utah Grizzlies, so that's pretty neat. These guys are long shots to be sure, but don't write them off. Pagansky has the most NHL experience with 22 games for the Blues and Jets, and he put up 41 points in the AHL last year, so he's no slouch. Sammy Walker has 13 games with the Wild under his belt and has shown he can score in the minors, in the ECHL and AHL respectively. And Dylan Wells, he's seen NHL action too. Plus, he knows the Mammoth system after time in the organization because he's been bounced around with the Tucson Roadrunners. Here's the catch with PTOs, though. They're not locked into Utah. If another team likes what they see in the preseason, they could swoop in and sign them. So for these guys, camp is basically a high-stakes audition. And for us, well, it's just fun to watch who might stick and who is going to push the guys who are locked in a little bit harder during camp. Okay. Now, the full training camp roster has been revealed. And there's only one omission to make. It's Connor Ingram. He is on that image that Utah Mammoth put out on their socials. They put that image out like right before the news broke of Ingram and the Utah Mammoth parting ways amicably. And I can't say that enough. It was amicably done. It wasn't one saying to the other, we don't want to be here anymore. It was both saying, I think this is what's going to be best. And so that's why I want to make sure that gets out there. And I still wish Connor Ingram all the best. I want him to kill it wherever he goes. I want him to be a brick wall, except for if he ever plays against Utah. There you go. So the official camp roster is here. The Mammoth have invited 66 players total. That number is down to 65. 37 forwards, 21 defensemen, and 7 goalies. Out of those, 23 of them also took part in rookie camp. So a lot of young guys in training camp. That's exciting. Camp runs from September 18th through October 4th. So that is today through October 4th. With on-ice sessions, preseason games, and plenty of chances for us to get a look at this roster battle in real time. The very first on-ice practice is set for Thursday at 9:45 a.m. at the team's practice facility in Sandy. I don't know if that one will be open to the public. If it is, good luck getting in. It will be packed, I'm pretty sure. This is when it all begins. We're almost there. Veterans try to prove they've still got it. The rookies trying to take the veterans' jobs. Preferred tryouts battling for their very hockey lives. And by the end of camp, we'll know what kind of team is hitting the ice in year 2 of Utah Mammoth hockey. Year 1 of being the Utah Mammoth. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see the first scrimmage. Tusks up and let the battles begin, and I'll see you all tomorrow.